The recent interview in which Tucker Carlson repeated claims originally made by Candace Owens has reignited controversy over the boundaries between skepticism, speculation, and responsible commentary. In the interview, Carlson echoed Owens' assertion that an individual named Erica Kirk was allegedly followed by Egyptian military planes for years, and that there were numerous foreign phones present at the scene when Charlie was unlived. These are extraordinary claims, and their repetition on a high-profile platform has raised serious questions about evidence, accountability, and the growing influence of conspiracy narratives in mainstream political media. At the center of the discussion is not simply what was said, but how it was said and what was omitted. Carlson did not present independent verification for the claims, nor did he clearly contextualize them as unproven allegations. Instead, the interview format allowed the statements to circulate in a conversational, speculative tone that can easily be interpreted by audiences as credible or insider information. In today's media environment, where trust in institutions is already fragile, that distinction matters deeply. Candace Owens initially floated the claims in earlier commentary, framing them as questions rather than established facts. This rhetorical strategy, posing dramatic allegations as inquiries, has become increasingly common in political media. It allows commentators to imply wrongdoing or hidden plots without bearing the burden of proof that would normally accompany direct accusations. When Carlson repeated these ideas, however, they gained additional weight due to his long-standing reputation as a contrarian voice willing to challenge official narratives. The specific assertion that Erica Kirk was followed for years by Egyptian planes is particularly striking. Such surveillance, if real, would imply a sustained foreign intelligence operation on U.S. soil involving significant resources and coordination. No publicly available evidence has been produced to substantiate this claim, nor have any government agencies, journalists, or independent investigators confirmed its plausibility. In the absence of documentation, flight records, official reports, or corroborating witnesses, the allegation remains speculative at best. Equally concerning is the claim about foreign phones being present at the scene of Charlie's death. The interview suggested that the presence of these devices implied international involvement or covert coordination. Again, no forensic reports, law enforcement statements, or technical analyses have been provided to support this conclusion. Modern urban environments are saturated with mobile devices from all over the world. The presence of phones registered to foreign carriers does not, on its own, indicate espionage or conspiracy. Without context, such claims can easily mislead viewers who may not be familiar with how telecommunications data actually works. What makes this episode particularly significant is Carlson's role in amplifying the narrative. With a large and loyal audience, his repetition of Owens' claims effectively laundered speculation into something that feels more authoritative. Even when framed cautiously, repetition alone can normalize an idea. Over time, audiences may come to treat unverified allegations as commonly accepted truths, especially when they align with broader suspicions about government secrecy or foreign interference. This dynamic highlights a larger trend in contemporary political discourse, the erosion of clear boundaries between reporting, commentary, and conjecture. Carlson has often positioned himself as an outsider challenging elite consensus, which resonates strongly with viewers who feel alienated from traditional media. However, that positioning also carries responsibility. Challenging official narratives is not inherently irresponsible, but doing so without evidentiary standards risks substituting one form of misinformation for another. The ethical implications extend beyond Carlson and Owens themselves. When high-profile figures suggest that shadowy foreign actors were involved in a death, it can have real-world consequences for the people connected to the case. Families, friends, and communities may be subjected to suspicion, harassment, or renewed trauma. Moreover, such narratives can distract from legitimate questions that deserve careful, evidence-based investigation. It is also worth noting how these claims fit into a broader ecosystem of online speculation. Once aired in a popular interview, they are quickly clipped, shared, and remixed across social media platforms. Context is stripped away, skepticism disappears, and the most sensational elements travel the farthest. In this way, a single interview can seed thousands of posts, videos, and threads that reinforce one another without adding new information. Defenders of Carlson might argue that asking uncomfortable questions is a necessary part of free speech and democratic debate. That is true, to a point. But freedom of speech does not absolve influential figures of the responsibility to distinguish between evidence and imagination. When claims involve alleged foreign surveillance, covert operations, or suspicious deaths, the threshold for credibility must be higher, not lower. Critics, meanwhile, see the interview as another example of how conspiracy-adjacent narratives are migrating from fringe spaces into the mainstream. They argue that by giving oxygen to such ideas, prominent commentators undermine public trust and contribute to a climate of paranoia, which in turn makes it harder for society to respond coherently to real threats, because everything begins to feel equally suspect. Ultimately, the controversy surrounding Carlson's repetition of Owens' claims is less about the specifics of Egyptian planes or foreign phones, and more about the standards we expect from influential media voices. Extraordinary claims demand extraordinary evidence. When that evidence is absent, responsible commentary requires clear disclaimers, rigorous skepticism, and a willingness to say, "We don't know." Until such standards are met, these allegations should be treated for what they currently are: unverified claims circulating in a media environment that rewards shock over substantiation. The danger is not only that people may believe something untrue, but repeated exposure to such narratives further blurs the line between fact and fiction, leaving audiences less equipped to discern reality when it truly matters.